This is Long Win,
And this is Sinclair Wilson.
and we are presenting our cultural project, and we are discussing Chinese folk tales. Chinese folk tales were passed on through oral traditions from one generation to the next. Folk tales came to be because since people in ancient China didn't understand science, people associated weather and disasters with changes in their lives. Thus, it became natural for them to imagine causes for everything in their lives expressed in stories and tales. Later on, various writers wrote down these stories in ancient writings. Some of these tales that we see today were translated from these ancient recordings and evolved over time.
Chinese folk tales were written on a wide assortment of subjects. The themes of the stories widely varied depending on what type of life was being depicted. Some were fanciful portrayals mostly depicted by Han Chinese rulers, while others were depictions of daily life, and still more were about superstitions and early beliefs, and so on. Many stories featured animals and fantastic creatures, such as the dragon and the phoenix, but even more variety in Chinese folklore can be found if you look beyond the stories of the Han people towards the folklore of the Chinese national minorities.
China is currently composed of 56 ethnic groups, the Han, who make up the majority, and the 55 nationally recognized groups. In regards to folk tales, the Han people and the minority groups express different subjects. The folklore of the Han people, who make up a large majority of China's population, differs from the folklore of the national minorities. Such national such minority folk tales were influenced by ethnic groups such as the Turks, Tartars, and Mongolians, while others were also influenced by southeastern cultures.
Both the ruling Han emperors and the common people had an interest in listening to tales recited by storytellers. However, interpretation of these stories differed among the common people and the ruling emperors. The court scribes glorified life under the Han dynasty. Other scholars were critical of the ruling class, so they focused on showing the stories of the common man instead. Their stories reflected the discontent of the common people.
A folk tale famous during the Han Dynasty is called the Lotus Lantern. This is a story about an immortal goddess named Shan Shangmu who fell in love with a mortal poet named Liu Yanchang. Eventually they married, but their marriage was forbidden in the eyes of the immortals, and they both went into hiding. While in hiding, the couple gave birth to a son named Shen Xiang. Shortly after Shen Xiang's birth, San Shangmu's brother Erlang found the couple and ordered San Shangmu to leave her husband and her child, which she refused. Later, Shangmu stole the lantern from his sister and took Shen Sheng to his palace and imprisoned his sister. It wasn't until Shen Sheng's 15th birthday when he found out from a priest that he was a child of a forbidden love affair and that his mother was in prison in a mountain. Shen Sheng, learning of this, managed to steal the lantern back from Erlang and defeated Erlang with the help of an axe and the magic lotus lantern. With the axe, he freed his mother from the mountain and in the end reunited with his father Liu Yanchang and lived happily ever after. Minority folklore reflected their hard lives under the Han rulers. Culturally, they were freer to express themselves because they were not bound by traditional rules of the Han dynasties. Some of this freedom can be seen in their songs and dances, including in their costumes. This is also extended to the way they develop their folk tales. The folklore of the national minority groups often reflected their hardships and their wish to escape from difficulty. They were full of metaphors, wishful thinking, and magic. In addition, they were also influenced by ideas of having a better life, strong spouse, freedom, and justice, and so on.
The story of the Golden Sheng from Miao folklore tells the tale of a young girl kidnapped by a terrible dragon. As the girl was swept away, she cried out to her mother that she was depending on her little brother to save her. During his quest to rescue her, he finds an instrument called a sheng, which was enchanted to make whoever heard its music dance involuntarily. When the boy found the dragon, he played the sheng and forced the dragon to dance until it died, rescuing his sister. They then used its skin, bones, and horns to cultivate their fields, and became so prosperous that from then on they lived comfortably. Folk tales from ancient times still inspire the writers of China today. They are generally shorter, but are inspired by all facets of both Han and minority cultures, as there is far less strife between the ethnicities. One form of modern writing inspired by ancient folk tales is Weixing Xiaoshuo, or microfiction, which often displays the themes found in older stories.
Even beyond the genre of folk tales themselves, Chinese folk tales are still being regarded in many other different forms. More importantly, Chinese folk tales are very highly referred to in holidays. For example, February 7th is the Qi Qi festival, in reference to the tale of the Niu Lang Zhenu, which means the weaver girl, and the cowherd, which is a famous story which describes lovers being reunited one day per year. In addition, tales also are referred to in operas such as 教师孤儿, which means tale of the orphan Zhao, and in love stories like like the butterfly lovers or 梁山伯与祝英台.